Well, it seems we won't get rid of these technical difficulties anytime soon, so let's just commence and hope this will resolve itself. Greetings, greetings. Welcome back. It is my pleasure to welcome you here again, if with some technical difficulties, as is the nature of these things, I fear. But we shall not be deterred by that. I will try to keep on top of YouTube chat regardless, even though it currently does not seem to want to show up properly. So then let us waste no more time and let us jump right into it. The wood grows around the walls of the mansis. As any student of histories knows, the mansis has no walls. Christopher Illapoy, traveling at night. So, let us continue then. Where were we? Indeed, where were we? On the path to increase our health with lessons learned and vitality. Fresh air and exercise, long walks kill cobwebs. On an expedition at St. Agnes Hospital. Luckily, we were faced with a curse last time, which has shriveled to our fortune. Also, continuing our work at Glover & Glover. I still have plans to rise further there, but for now we shall remain where we are. And very importantly, last time for the first time, we managed to find our way through the spider's door. In my dreams, I found the way to the spider's door, sometimes called the Bloody Gate, or, more informally, the Wrong Door. So now, who shall we speak to? One of our patrons to earn ourselves a new commission, I think. And what shall we dream of? What would be most opportune? I think calling it an early night, perhaps. And with that, we shall speed things up a little bit. We've gained a commission. And fortunately for us, treasures now lie before us. We continue our work. Our senior position. And, well, I would say we would begin to charm our way right away, but all of our hard followers are currently occupied. The Violet Chamber. What was this place? The door bore no sign, there were no windows. The walls were painted a rich violet. Rich even now, after the ravages of rain through the leaking ceiling. A rotting chair has leather straps on the arms. The floor is porcelain. And Ronald. I have no idea what that word means, unfortunately. Oh well. restlessness about to decay into dread. Unless, of course, we make use of it. Recruiting an acquaintance by invoking Lantern. Yes. That seems like a good course of action. Fresh air and exercise. I've neglected my studies, but I stand a little straighter. Vitality we have gained, which we shall now convert to a lesson learned. And now, by calling it an early night, we have gained a fleeting reminiscence. Not much use, but oh well. What else could we dream of? Oh well. The Violet Chamber. There is a padlocked cupboard in the wall. It does not long resist our strength. It contains instruments tipped with flint and glass. Instruments one would not expect a surgeon to use. It contains other matters of more interest to us too. Our followers return, and we've gained notoriety, of course, which we should get rid of at the earliest opportunity. The Locksmith's Dream, Volume 3, Trespasses, the third volume of Theresa Garmier's examination of parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans. This, I believe, is the last volume we have yet to read, as... Oh no, we also have the second one to read before us, but it is already in our possession. The fourth and first one we have already read. We've also gained Rose Pearl Dust. Pearls are sacred to the witch and sister, especially those of this color. They have been used in protective rites, among others. Stained gloves. What use have these known? What lessons might they teach my hands? And another book, The Rose of Hypatia, marked with a tripled sign of the arcane contemplative order known as the Sisterhood of the Knot, in Greek. I believe we have also read the sibling books of this one before. And, now that it is explored, the hospital is empty. Phantoms, the neighbors say, still walk the echoing halls here. If we take possession, of course, they will leave, or we'll turn them to our use. Oh, how promising. We shall put them with the other potential new locales for our hideout. This we shall put here. And these over here. I think it's high time that we begin sorting our books. I have left some space here. Ideally, sorting them by value. For the more value a book contains, the more knowledge it is likely to also contain. Now the question remains what to do with this notoriety. A dozen lights blaze. There is no place for shadow in these rites, and no place for mercy. And our hanger-on is now a pawn. This one is loyal, but lacks initiative. No matter, we shall find a use for them sooner or later. And so, we shall tend to this notoriety before it troubles us. Discuss occult business with a follower. Significant conversations in a smoky meeting room. What do I need from my follower? Occult business. Charm. Not everyone is sympathetic to our aims, but if we have problems with our reputation, our disciple can probably smooth them over. Problems with our reputation we have notoriety. Certain acts are not quickly forgotten, and notoriety may allow hunters to build a case against us. Hunters, like the wary detective here. This gentleman would much rather be left alone with his pipe and his illustrated London news, but no. Apparently, some conjurer of abominations has to be hunted down like a mad dog, and apparently no one else can find the time. Don't worry, detective. I think we shall find means and ways to put you into retirement soon enough. Trust. In the meantime, what else is there to explore for us? The clouds part. Very good. The wolf despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. Which is a relief to hear. Yet at the same time, there is a trembling in the air. The sun flickers like a shadow. Dreams ripple behind the surface of mirrors. I must be careful not to drift from the waking world. Fascination may provoke visions. So, we better take care not to accrue any fascination. In the meantime, I believe I will add to my library by browsing Morland's shop. It takes time, of course, to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. Hopefully, at least. 3 lessons learned now in Vitality, but we need 4. So again, fresh air and exercise. An early night. Sometimes I have dreamt of a tall woman in a sand-colored coat who stands at the foot of my bed, smiling as she watches me sleep. In that dream, she turns her head with the swiftness of a bird, and her fingers flex like talons. I do not think I dreamt of her last night. If I had, I could not have slept so soundly. That's good, I suppose. Let's see what sleep brings us this time. Earnest speeches, affable conversations, the standards of daylight society cannot apply to us. But perhaps we won't emphasize that point. Perhaps we'll rely on charm and good humor. I have supplied elegant platitudes about the high principles of our organization. Surely there is nothing illicit or duplicitous about us. We're just ordinary scholars and adepts. Nothing illegal, nothing strange about us. And I found something noteworthy in Morland's shop. The Queens of the Rivers, a surreal contemporary play by the enigmatic Monica Medina, in which the Queens of the Rivers are murdered, one by one. Fascinating. We shall read it when we get the chance. Now, I wonder... No, I don't think the time has come to venture out on another expedition just yet, so in the meantime, I believe we'll continue browsing Morden's shop. And the world as it is. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I am sane, if that means anything. Well, at least it means we haven't lost ourselves completely yet. Optimism is the spice which saves. Our notoriety is no more, and we can walk away with a clean vest. Very good. But now I think it's time to do the opposite. Deliberately attract attention. In the hopes of finding someone in return ourselves. It seems like our lessons learned in Vitality are about to decay, but it's not the end of the world. If they decay back into Vitality, so converting them back to lessons learned is not too difficult, though it is a bit of an unfortunate setback. Another book. The Orchid Transfigurations, Volume 2. I believe Volume 1 is still in our possession. A 16th century alchemical fever dream, attributed to Robert Flood, frequently banned for the disturbing allure of its illustrations. This is the original Latin. Oh, how interesting. Yes, here we have Volume 1, with the same description. Dreams of the rain. I dreamt of the rain, whispering in the eaves, tapping on windows like an old friend, hissing prankishly in the chimney. It is difficult to be unhappy in the right kind of rain. That's nice, and we've gained contentment. I'm happy, I think. Contentment, which might come quite handy quite soon. Because this restlessness will, if not attended to, turn into dread. Ah, and fortune smiles upon us. Whenever the principle of the heart is implicated, I may gain vitality. My own heart pumps more strongly today, and we've gained an additional vitality. Very good. The city is rife with journalists and detectives and other meddlers. How long will they leave me in peace? For now, at least, we don't have anything incriminating against us, so that's something. And we've also acquired another book, The Skeleton's Songs, poems of greedy delight composed by the possibly pseudonymous Abraella Dusk, the rumored heiress turned madman turned poetess. Interesting. Ah, a patron. We can learn from each other. We could use a new patron, it's true. Ah, yes. And the restlessness has indeed turned into dread. I've seen too much. A nameless, gnawing fear has its teeth in my hopes, an existential horror. but it can be quelled with contentment. I remember that I was different before. And, much to my delight, we are very much on the cusp of achieving 4 lessons learned in Vitality. Oh dear. But at the same time, we've also become unwell. Oh well. A new patron, Sulukhana Amarasaya. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I could very well be wrong. The laconic, energetic, bright-eyed, unblinking owner of the Ecdysis Club. What to do next? Talking of esoteric matters again, yes. A bit of a chore, but it has to be done at some point. The medicine is dark and bitter as tar. It would be easy to suspect I am being poisoned. A moment. Strange. Oh well, no matter. We've acquired Kühner and Girth. Kühner and Girth's ausführliche Grammatik der griechischen Sprache, a Greek grammar, an essential weapon for a ferocious struggle with a challenging language. It would be quite useful if we didn't already know Greek. Thus, it is, at the moment, somewhat worthless. But we can always auction it away. Sell something of minimal value. This oddity is probably worth something, but it's hard to be sure. Well, we don't need it anyway, so even if it doesn't sell for much, it's still better than nothing. Another acquaintance. Hmm. Two funds. I certainly can't complain about that. Considering we have bought it for one fund, we even managed to turn a profit. But now it seems we're about to fall into despair, which is, to say the least, bad. I should look for ways of remedying that as quickly as possible. And this might help. Streets strange by moonlight. Sometimes the light of the moon is a key to other spaces. I've found a place where, for a night or two, the streets curve in unfamiliar ways. If I walk here, I might find insight, or I might be touched by madness. Well, I hope to find contentment there. But who knows? And we have met a new acquaintance, Eau Claire. Eau Claire has a scholarly aspect and a morbid streak. You might be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower. And that is exactly what we shall do. What to speak of in the meantime? Maybe nothing for now. Oh dear. Talk about inopportune timing. We explored the uncanny tangle of streets by the light of the moon. Streets are strange in the hour called the Menace Gate. And visions pass me with pavane grace, a window over a wood, a garden of ice, a shivering sun, a woman of glass. I will return home with reluctance, and I've gained fascination, which will now provoke visions. Despair and visions at the same time can be a deadly combination. We must be careful. So I believe I'll pay a visit to the Ecdysis Club. The entrance is lost beneath soft drapes of crimson, cinnabar, and incarnadine, strange word. Above the door, the club motto, Ingirum imus nocte et consumimur igni, has been rendered as, into the night's circle we fly, until the fire enjoys us. Taking a bit of liberty in the translation, I see, but technically still correct, on some level. Ah. Sleep is a long dark ocean, but sometimes, when we reach the farther shore, there is lamplight, we've gained contentment. So at least one of our worries, the despair, will be addressed soon enough. Oh dear, but at the same time, we've also accrued fascination at the Ecdysis Club. So this was, in fact, very much the wrong decision. But maybe we can quell that fascination in a ritual. Recruiting an acquaintance and getting rid of that fascination in the same breath. Very good. Three lessons learned in vitality. Are about to become 4. Despair is the wolf that devours thought, but we can defeat despair by feeding it contentment, which we are doing at the moment. So it should trouble us no longer soon enough. Now, with the ritual completed, Auclair is a believer. Auclair is quiet, meticulous, and remorseless. Unsurprisingly, a follower of winter, that aspect which enjoys silence above all. It's quite remarkable that we haven't found a single edge follower yet, but I continue to cast out my lure. Despair abates. Memories of better times keep the wolf from the door. I'm seeing things. Paintings whisper. Windows wink. I know these things are not true, but how can I be certain? You can defeat visions with dread or a fleeting reminiscence. Otherwise, you will lose yourself completely at Fascination 3. Luckily, we have just that, a fleeting reminiscence, gained from quelling dread. Ah, a collection of essays. If the mind is a blade, this is a whetstone. Study this to gain an additional lesson learned, which you may be able to use to increase reason. Unfortunately, reason and skill can increase no further. We've already taken care of that. So, it is, in truth, somewhat worthless to us right now, but oh well. It happens. I believe this time we won't go to Morland's shop, but instead to the auction house, see what they have on offer. De Bellis Murorum, in Latin, an 18th century epic poem by the pseudonymous Solipsistos. No, Solipsistos. Ah, I see. Let's bid. Why not? Let's bid on that. Ah, finally. 4 lessons learned in vitality. Enough lessons learned, and something more. We can follow the Thunderskin's voice. Or we can fly through the fire we fly, and it shall not consume us. Both result in a deeper grace, so it matters little in this case. So I believe I'll do just this. A new acquaintance. Our senior position at Glover & Glover. I suppose theoretically I could rise higher. if someone died. Maybe it's time to see to that ourselves soon enough. Ah, the vision's a bait. Very good. What is this? A collection of poetry. Yes, passion can still be increased further, so this might actually become useful. Let us bid on it. Ah. No storm can break the tree that bends. We have acquired a flawless physique. Machine perfection, sinew-bound ivory, tight in satin skin. From here, I can only deteriorate. Health and skill can increase no further. We are at the height of our physical body. And with that, our studies turn to other matters. Like, for example, this. Lord Franklin Bancroft Diaries from 1750 to 1790. The notorious journal of a notorious gentleman, written in Latin, no doubt for the sake of safety. Luckily, we can speak Latin. And so, we shall translate it. Lock the study door, the work begins. A new acquaintance, Saliba. He's a man of prodigious appetites. He's long past the point where the satisfaction has given him any pleasure, but he has learned so very much. Appetites. No doubt. Grail. Again, I was hoping for a follower of Edge. But, oh well. You can't have everything. Another bidder. I know, I don't believe this is worth that much. If there's another bidder matching my bid, they can take it home with them. I don't much care. Restlessness, we shall use it to our advantage to make Auclair from a believer into a disciple, because soon enough I will have use for her. Actually, let us sell this collection of essays. Now translated, the diaries of Lord Franklin Bancroft. Lord Franklin Bancroft was initiated into the arts of the flower maker by the rose witch Fiona Ayrshire. He rose to become a society provider of occult services and secret pleasures before his abrupt disappearance in 1790. How interesting. Bancroft seems to have been a talented adept, but devoted his energies to frustratingly whimsical projects, arranging grape-fetching races between Mance's spirits, teaching percussigans to juggle, and conjuring storms of imaginary blossoms for the rose witch Ayrshire, who resolutely refused ever to couple with him. Bancroft spends 20 pages bemoaning this last. Ah, the course of the heart. A single fund, not much. Ah, good evening, Moon. Though... it seems... it's going well, though, unfortunately, as you might be able to notice, it seems the chat is having his issues. Its issues, rather. I'm not entirely sure as to the nature of this problem, but... I have not managed to fix it in the time before the stream. Another auction to attend. Oh, right, yes. I have some time ago found out that this game does actually exist on mobile devices, which is quite nice because the gameplay style does lend itself to that format. Ah. And now, finally, we find what I was looking for. Stumm. A can of nitrate film labeled Stumm, silent or perhaps mute. The director's name, Jenrik Krosse, is shakily appended. And now, Auclair is a disciple. Auclair rarely speaks. She chooses her words with care. Even her movements have become economical. She is never seen to blink. Interesting. Does she have a commission for us? No, sadly not. Though she is a patron. Interesting. But tell me, Moonwing, how have you fared on your first few descents? Yes. It can be quite arduous. God damn it, I forgot to read the text of this book. Oh well, at least we got an unmerciful tantra out of it. Mercy, saith the watchman, is found only in shadow. Good, more lantern lore, which is exactly what we need. Then next, let us read The Rose of Hypatia, marked with a triple sign of the arcane contemplative order known as the Sisterhood of the Knot, in Greek. But not for long, because now we'll translate it. The Unflinching Order. Which aspect was that again? Ah, we've won the auction. What could we dream of? What could we explore? No, Crocus Hill. We send Auclair. And I believe Valziane. 2 funds. The one who came here before us had marked the door in the hillside, and here it may yet be, but it is sealed besides with stone and binding spell. Expeditions need at least 1 funds per obstacle. Followers will defeat obstacles. If you run out of funds or followers, the expedition ends. Crocus Hill. The ancient tribes reserved this resting place for one who, by the end, in service of a certain merciless hour, was more scar than man. They sealed the entrance with binding songs and mortared blood. Ah, right, Forge, yes, the unflinching order. Yeah, that makes sense. Have you then dedicated yourself to power, also? One moment, I must take a sip of water. Ah, nourishing. I believe it's about time to start dreaming of the stag door again. We could also go through the spider's door, but we only have so many prisoners, and getting new ones can be quite a hassle. Oh. Well, enlighten me, why would that be? What made you restart? What obstacles do we have here? Oh, nothing but a warded door. Well then. I guess adding 2 funds was unnecessary. And all we need is a bit of forge. And we've translated The Rose of Hypatia, a volume of collected teachings of the Sisterhood of the Knot, that arcane contemplative order that existed in all histories, but in some ways was very powerful indeed. This was recorded by Hypatia and dedicated to Saint Nympha. Then let us waste no further time and read it. Saint Nympha is described as not born, but cultivated. The sentience that became the saint, Hypatia indicates, inhabited a sinner's corpse in order to enable that sinner's redemption. Interesting. We call upon the Forge of Days, who will end all nights, will almost certainly shatter this warded door. So, again, we find ourselves at the stag door. And again, I think we choose to go along the Painted River for a forbidden epic. There's a great chamber in the manses through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There are fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. finally reached the top of Glover and Glover. Ah, I see. I see, yes. Scandal has a way of messing things up once you're at the top, and 2 fascination and 2 dread. Yeah, that's unpleasant. I understand. Once you're in that situation, it's not impossible to get out of, but it gets quite sticky, yes. The death of a door. All doors must open, all lives must end. This door has found its end here today. Very good. And I believe that means it's about time to start our occult business of charm. Not all the dead enter the manses by the winter door. Not all the dead enter the manses at all. Interesting. And we've gained a wood whisper and words that walk. Words that walk. The syllables of this formula are compelling. I find myself snapping my fingers to its rhythm. It desires not to cease. And so, I believe it's time to study this film reel. I'll need to purchase a projector to watch this, of course, but the film rattles through the projector, glows silently on the wall. It is the story of a foolish student of forbidden sciences who recruits a dancer to entice the dead back into the world through a flaw in its skin. It's a fiction, but here on a little card is laid out the operation of the declining sun. Interesting. Ah, yes. Yeah. Suspicion can sometimes come from unsuspecting places. That is true. But with each failure you learn. That's kind of the beauty of this game. And now, treasures lie before us. Our expedition plans for the next challenge, but there is no more challenge, luckily. And I think at the same rate, we might as well enter through the stack door again. The Warrior's End. It is almost possible to stand upright in this place, but the air is foul and our lamps burn low. Here is the warrior king staked out on the funeral stone, his bones smashed to keep him from walking. The orbits of his skull are bound with bronze. Interesting. And now we've watched Stumm. The right is depicted in chilling detail. Here is the flaw in the world, an influence shimmering in luminous paint. Here is the dancer establishing an irresistible rhythm. Here the scholar recites the operation, and now the misty dead whirls through the flaw. And now the misty dead whirls through the flaw to consume him. The film closes on the dancer's watchful eyes. Had she intended it all from the start? We've gained dread from watching. but also an operation of the declining sun. This invokes, acknowledges, and welcomes the passage to silence. Use this in a rite with a heart influence and Byzantine tinct to summon the voiceless dead. And also, most crucially, we have learnt of a new rite, the sunset rite. The assistant must cry tears of genuine emotion, which are asperged in the place where the influence lies. If all is done well, the sun in rags will consume the influence, acknowledge an ending, and lend its assistance. The sunset rite is a big breakthrough. With it, open many new possibilities. But first of all, I think we should find a way how to quell this dread and find it quickly. Unfortunately, we're already dreaming. Speedrun a man's end, and what man might that be, I wonder? Speaking of endings, the warrior's end. Others have been here before us, power still lingers, and no doubt they used it in their ceremonies. They've taken some of the warrior king's funeral treasures, but left something of their own. And so what have they left? An icy atmosphere. The air crisps the skin, frost marks the glass. Piebald pigment from the crushed wings of rare lepidopterans, aka butterflies. Painting black or painting white, this is the stuff that'll see you right. Unsurprisingly, it's aspect moth, of course. The Book of the Centipede. In the mid-1816, one Madame Yi presented an entertainment-based, she claimed, on this book. A meteoric bullet. Taenite iron bullets are occasionally dug from the skeletons of unusual beasts across Europe, the Middle East, and India. Someone has been hunting monsters. A bone flute. Its sound will cease. And grey dawn oil. The precise color of the hours when one cannot sleep. We shall add them to our collection. And the book to our library. Yes. That pesky Glover, I'm also currently conspiring to get him out of the way, so to speak. Ah. And the notoriety generated from that exposition is already gone. How convenient. But now we still need more contentment. We'll try our luck at the club. Making a masterpiece. Yes, though not yet. It has its uses, but there are other options, since in effect it's just a tool, and there are other ways of getting tools of similar power. Speaking of, the sunset rite. We need an offering, an influence to be consumed. What strength is this? 6. Not quite enough, sadly. Though... perhaps... with the right assistant who bears the right wounds and the right of occasion, summoning a servant of the sun in rags, a deep winter's cold to name and draw the maid in mirror, edge to match her keen cruelty. Yes. Which does mean I'll get demoted from my job, but oh well. The wary detective is also off our case. Very nice. And we've gained contentment, which will come in handy in a moment. Things are finally progressing quite nicely. Time to translate this. And also, while we're at it, allow ourselves a sip. Explore. What could we explore further? Mullen's shop. Why not? Oh dear. A sickness. But it's not the end of the world. Now let's see how this summoning is coming along. Unfortunately, my summoning is struggling against my control. I could use reason to dismiss it safely, which is always reliable. I could try to reassert my control with passion, which is not reliable. Or I could let what will happen, happen. I believe I will try and risk it, contending for mastery. The things from outside the world have many weapons. Knives and riddles, fire and despair. I have weapons of my own. This will usually, but not always, work. How much time spent accumulating AT funds? Yes, I know. I also usually like to accrue quite a stockpile once I'm in the position to do so. Because, as you've already experienced, sooner or later that source of income might go away. But at the same time, it's not the only one. Another collection of essays. Again, better to sell that one. We don't need it anymore. Our mind can increase no further. And now, with bated breath, we see what happens. Oh dear, it's free. Summoning a breach. And it has grabbed hold of one of our patrons, closer with each sweep of the clock's hand, like a circling wind, like the river's coil. My summoning has escaped my control, where it'll wreak havoc, no doubt. This is bad, very bad in fact. Yes, painting increases your reputation, which is both a curse and a blessing, because it means that, well, you have more of a reputation with which to attract customers, but said reputation also means that meddlers and other troublemakers will look deeper into your affairs. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Not good, not good, not good. Well, at least the spare abates, that's something. We are sick, that's something else. Not so pleasant. Yes, it's quite a lot. Huh. An escaped summoning has claimed the victim. The first rays of the day's sun will fall on the open eyes of a corpse. There is often a price for an unwise summoning, but it is not always the summoner who pays it. Luckily, in this case, I would say. Popular Cell, losing her is, of course, unfortunate, but, well, c'est la vie. But unfortunately, we have also gained notoriety from it. We should get rid of it at the earliest opportunity. Along with some other things we have accrued here, like these chilly atmospheres, which will also become dread soon enough. Though perhaps one dread could be just what we need right now. We found nothing but another hanger-on. So I think it's time to smooth things over, hopefully get rid of that notoriety. A glimmering. The dancers pass beyond the backdrops, cross them, seem to move upon their staircases and drawbridges. Their bodies become smudged with backdrop paint. A growl arises from the audience. The walls of the house. A glimmering, but sadly not exactly what we wanted. And now the club is closed. Until further notice. Yes, mystique upon mystique. What to do next? What to do next? I think first of all we should do something with this corpse. But what? Dread. Could be just what we need for this ritual. What is our highest winter law? Creature of the sun in rags will need more winter. Oh, damn it. For this we'll need a victim, which I don't want to spare right now. I suppose at the very least could try and get rid of this corpse, but no takers. Well, in any case, I guess in the meantime we could study this book, the Book of the Centipede. In the 1860s, one Madame Yi presented an entertainment based, she claimed, on this book. The centipede always found her way into the dark space places. When she was punished for it, she reacted badly. In the Mansus, as in Mia, whatever that may mean. Well, yes, but for that, the detective does look like a good sacrifice, but for that, I fear we might have to, nab him first, which could be a challenge. I'll pay another visit to the club. Nightly pleasures, which will give us contentment, just what we need. Maybe paint with my passion to get rid of some of this restlessness. And the corpse has decayed into notoriety. Well, I guess there's nothing to be done about it. At least we can hope to get rid of one of them right now, with earnest speeches and affable conversations. And at least the next season is not one of suspicion. This commission on winter is now never going to be fulfilled. Because our patron is dead. A hireling. No interest. Not right now. The Book of the Centipede. The river runs through the sands, out of myth and into legend. The painted river runs the other way. So, out of legend and into myth. One is barred to the centipede now, but she finds ways back in, sometimes. I don't know exactly what this means, but we have gained a forgotten chronicle. What shall we read next? Perhaps this book, by the color, it may be about Lantern, which is what we could use right now. Among some other things. No one understands us, or else they understand us too well. Unfortunate, unfortunate. Maybe Dorothy will do a better job. Dread upon dread upon dread. At least we have some more contentment now. And the next season is one of fascination, which Dread, of course, will actually protect us from. But still, best to not have too much of it on hand. I mean, we could be more proactive with our corpses, but I had at the moment no use for it. There are plenty of ways to use a corpse, but none of them were open to me at that moment. and we have translated on what is contained by silver a dire bestiaries of the horrors to be found in mirrors. This is a recent edition of a 3rd century text by Pomander. Mirrors are indeed the subject of Lantern. So my initial guess, based on the color of the book, that this is a Lantern text might very well be true. Oh damn it, it grabbed the Mystique, because of course it did. Streets strange by moonlight. Should I quell this dread now? Perhaps use it for some other purpose. But no, there is no other purpose I have for it right now, unfortunately. At least we've gotten rid of that Mystique, but we still have that notoriety to deal with. A subtle fracture. A subtle fracture, perhaps? We could use this. With the right follower and the right invocation, to have another go at it, to summon another servant of the sun in rags, to summon another maiden mirror. Maybe, hopefully, we'll be more lucky this time. The virgins, or maidens of the mirror. Oh, how fitting, we are just about to summon one of them. Favor orchids, the behindlings? Favor the... oh god, what kind of... rhododendron. Favor the rhododendron. I believe that's an exotic kind of flower, but I'm not sure. Cut flowers of either nature. Yes, okay, so... that suspicion is confirmed. Cut flowers of either nature should not be placed before polished bronze. An appendix contains a rite which might be used to summon some of these entities, although the details of its use are not made clear. A man's glimpse and another rite. The rite of the watchman's sorrow. This rite recalls the loss of the watchman who walks the house which has no walls. Light goes before him and shadow behind. He must not see you. The instrument of power is used to summon him to make his sacrifice. Precious knowledge from the root of your thoughts. The assistant must speak the words that anchor your sanity, so choose someone you trust. And a man's glimpse. A snatch of poetry, a single memory of a certain house that all of us visit at least twice in our lives. For one's first visit to the manses, this lore is almost essential. And another rite. Very good. Then, I think, next, actually, while we have the opportunity, let us study our glimmering, actually, and maybe try to increase our passion as well. Health and reason have already reached their maximum, not passion. Ah, the world as it is. And also, no dread to provoke despair. But unfortunately, the next season is one of suspicion. Bad news. But, at the same time, we might very well be currently in the process of finding something which will deal with the meddling detective forevermore. Yes. A maid in the mirror. The ascent is glass. The walls are knives. Each step is blood. The dead who rest before a new cracked mirror, who pass through the peacock gate, who master the sharp stare. Those dead enter the service of the sun in rags. 10 winter. 10 edge. Absolutely deadly. And I think just what we need to get rid of some annoyances in our life. Yeah. The notoriety is no more. Thus now arises the question of what to do next. Exploring the streets strange by moonlight, perhaps. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. 1/10 of a second before the notoriety decays and it's picked up. Oh, never mind. It decayed just in time. And by just in time, I mean really exactly just in time. Not exactly what I wanted, but oh well. Oh dear. Okay. Ah, the worried detective. And now, it's time to send an unstoppable force to murder a hunter. Unless this hunter has some unusual protection, they're already dead. But their demise will attract attention. Finally. Oh, interesting. A nightmare. The cleansing dawn again, but... oh well. And again we have our senior position, which, if all goes well, might also soon be rid of any troublemakers. Yes, I am going to read the rest of these books, but I think for now, this might be a good time to increase my passion. Study is a slot that seldom sleeps. Contentment. Again, not exactly what I needed, but oh well. Ah. My minion has returned with a trophy. Goodbye, detective. It was fun while it lasted, I guess, but now he's no more. Better get rid of the corpse as soon as we can. By recruiting Saliba over here. But unfortunately, we're not left enough for long, as the notoriety has immediately attracted a new adversary. But we have our maiden mirror now, so... I almost forgot we had these collections of poetry. More glimmering. Yes, I am not going to inquire further what exactly happens to the corpse during the rite, but considering that Saliba is of the Grail, and Grail honors the birth and the feast, I think I have a hunch. Yes, Saliba is now a believer, as I said, of Grail. He understands blood. He does not yet understand birth. Ominous. And, since the Maiden Mirror did such a good job last time, we'll send it out again with someone else in mind. Someone who is maybe less of a threat, but more of an annoyance. I'm out of patience with this nuisance. Unless they have some unusual protection, they're already dead. But their demise will attract attention. Speaking of attention, there's a new hunter on the block. There's always someone who doesn't understand, who understands too well. This troublemaker may seek evidence on my activities to share with the authorities. One Dr. Natalia Dragon. She was laughed out of academia for her analyses of alternate histories, and it only made her more resolute. Now she works with the Suppression Bureau. And we'll see that she is quite a bit different than the wary detective. For one, she's an idealist. Idealists cannot be demoralized, although sometimes their ideals can be turned against them. She's also meticulous. This hunter always succeeds at creating evidence from notoriety. But, all the same, just like the detective, she is mortal. And thus, I don't think she'll trouble us for very long. Yes, we could, of course, try to recruit her, but I think at the moment we have neither the means, nor, in my case at least, the patience. In another life, in another history, maybe, but... well... not right now. Right now, she chose to cross us at the wrong time and will pay the price like those before her. What could I work on right now? A commission, maybe? Yes. Why not? One last lesson learned in glimmering, and we'll have what we need. Ending in annoyance, I await word, with bated breath and crossed fingers, though this time I don't think there's much reason to worry. Ah, we've found something. Gware Inn. On a crumbling cliff above a grey sea, the Gware Inn squats until the day the sea comes for it. It receives a few guests, fewer since the owner closed his notorious library to visiting scholars. Closed, they say. Well, that's never stopped us before, has it? I think... this calls... for... these two, yes. Digging a hole is easier than navigating a human heart and mind. Well said. Well said. Sometimes the direct approach is the best one. What else could I do? I think for now nothing. Instead, I'll await word. My minion has returned with a prisoner who will have time now to regret his choices. Unfortunately, the act has attracted notoriety, but, well, we are rid of the younger Glover. With the younger Glover gone, I might rise even higher, and even better. Our hours have improved somewhat favorably. We don't have to attend this job as regularly anymore. Mr. Alden and Glover Jr. reunited at last. And the great thing about this sunset, right? I can just use the maid in the mirror as an assistant to summon another maid in the mirror, should something happen to the first one. And also, now that we have 4 lessons learned, we can exercise the imagination either to unreason, cut my hair, cut my bonds, cut my snip, snip, snip. Yes, we are but humble employees, soon managers of Glover and Glover. Why would we do anything to the person we never met or heard of? Exactly, exactly. We have nothing to do with that. Who desires but acts not breeds pestilence. We could exercise the imagination into folly or to unreason. I think I will go with unreason. Cut my hair, cut my bonds, cut my snip, snip, snip. The expedition continues. What stands before us? A warded door? An engineer or an adept has ensured this door will not open easily. Forge or knock will defeat it. And watchers. Mortals, perhaps even ordinary mortals, but quite a number of them. They can be fought, seduced, or deceived. How to get rid of that dread? Maybe by calling it an early night. We could... Oh. That reminds me, we have a commission to hand in. Very good. A powerful deception likely to succeed. Things are coming along nicely. And now we have 2 maids in the mirror, where we previously only had 1. Sending them on expeditions will prolong their stay here. So, even though she's perhaps not necessarily needed, I'll send her along. And to this one, I'll speak. Bring me your answers, and I shall defeat them with my questions. Skill, never know. The more, the passion and skill can increase no further. And now, I think, with all of our skills increased to the maximum, we can continue our studies. Like with the locksmith dreams, Portions and Proportions, the 2nd volume of Theresa Galmier's examination of parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans. The frontispiece has been slashed with a razor. I wonder why. In this volume, Galmier records fever dreams and explicates more of her own elaborate theories. We see this again and again. What is below can't escape what is above. I believe maids in the mirror are not bound to any one reflective surface. They can be anywhere. a puddle of water, a shard of glass. The reflection in your fellow's eye. Ah, the Watcher's confusion. Success. Their bewilderment is our opportunity. Will pass in silent secrecy. And contentment to quell our dread. Unfortunately, there is now tentative evidence. But I don't think it'll be Natalia Dragon who'll deal with it. It's time to say goodbye to her. Her stay was short, but, well. Should I give in to ambition and try to get that promotion? The all-important one right now, or should I wait a little? Perhaps it's best to wait until some of these waves have flattened themselves. Because I am about to receive a lot of notoriety. We call upon the horned axe who waits at the threshold. We bear a great power of opening, will almost certainly shatter this warded door. My minion has returned with a trophy. A human corpse. The spirit is departed. At some point the smell will be so bad you'll have to dispose of it, but here it is now. It may attract attention, it may be used to impress the impressionable. Even after the corpse is gone, notoriety will remain. So, first things first. Find a way to get rid of the corpse. This right will not take it. Neither will this right. The right of the watchman's sorrow, maybe? No. Well then, we can always use it in an initiation ritual. Time to make this pawn into a disciple. Exactly. In the end, what's the difference between a few years or decades, maybe? And really, she brought this upon herself by getting involved in things she had no business getting involved in. We've read this volume of Locksmith's Dreams. The finest artisans all dream of the white door in the end. I'm no artisan, only a scholar. I think there's a secret that all these artisans know, but I think that secret is only half the story. A tuition and a locksmith's secret. Sooner or later, every locksmith has the dream. Now we recite its 7 phases. Nearly every summoning requires knock influence. This lore will provide it. Exactly. I mean, almost admirable had she made that choice knowingly, which, well, I don't think she did. But what's done is done. And since we just read the second volume, I think it's only fitting to continue with the third one. In this volume, notoriously, Galmier's prose begins to disintegrate, and it is not clear which dreams are in fact her own. I think, while the timing allows for it, I'm going to get rid of one of this restlessness. The death of a door once more. We're through, and with that, all the challenges before us vanquished. Treasures lie before us. Very good. Ah. And we've gained a prescient disciple, loyal and keen-sighted. Lantern. And, perhaps more importantly, we've gotten rid of the corpse. Next thing, best to get rid of that notoriety. Oh yes, I have looked at it. Limbus Company. Yeah, it looks interesting, though I confess there is quite a long list of games I still have to play on my pile of shame in my Steam library, untouched. But, it's definitely on my radar now. Actually, I have thought about, since, you know, Limbus Company is free and, you know, to my understanding, a gacha game, I have actually thought about buying, its predecessor, Lobotomy Inc. Ah. And we've read Volume 3, which I believe makes it the last one of the Locksmith's Dream. Yes, I know, Limbus Company is free. So yeah, maybe I will, actually give it a playtest sooner or later. It definitely looks interesting. The woman in the sand-colored robe has told me the stairways of the Mansus go ever up. Death is down. The mother of ants guards both directions with each of her heads, and so the passage must always be through a wound. I think the white door might be a wound. That's one reason the dead sometimes pass it. I think the other half of the secret now. I think I have the other half of the secret now, and I hope my reader can put both halves together. Glimmering and a wood whisper. Lie awake and listen. The wind speaks in the branches. The house cries out in its sleep. These are the roads that chaos rides. Speak this in a corpse, over a corpse in a rite, and with a winter influence present, and the corpse will rise. Neat. The Queen of the Rivers. The Skeleton Songs. The Horus Book 1. Also, the Bellis Minorum. Let's go with this one, since it's at the back of our collection right now. Ah, I see. Okay. And that's good to know. Nope. Ooh. I almost suffered a demotion. A white library. The room is bleached and quiet. The chairs are pale wood. The table is topped with white marble. A low draught blows through the ill-fitting sea-facing casement. In winter, it must be insupportably cold. A white-painted glass case holds a shelf of books, wrapped oddly in coils of copper wire. Interesting. Let's see what it'll net us. Oh no, bleak thoughts again. So now, let's see. Our second maiden mirror is back. The first one is about to decay. So I think I'll send this one out to search. Though, in actuality, I do need to do this maybe first, so... oh well. Withering Heights. Rings a bell, but no, I haven't. Now, what have we received? Notoriety, of course, unfortunately. The Concursum Diaries, the diaries of the explorer and murderer Lars Westergren. He's unhelpfully translated them into Phrygium for privacy, which means we won't be able to read these. Because we don't know how to... we don't know how to translate Phrygian texts yet. Unfortunately. Though, actually... no, this one is a scholar in Aramaic. This one in Sanskrit, so we're out of luck. But then we also have Those Who Do Not Sleep, a Fushing text attributed to the mystic Brodnax. On Matthias and the amethyst Imago, loss, the diagrams and illustrations, even across the centuries, are elegant, hypnotic, occasionally erotic, in Aramaic. Once again, a language we do not yet possess. Gildersleeve's Latin grammar, quite unhelpful, since we already know Latin. And a Sanskrit text, the Shaven Lock Tantra, also known as the one who has shaven his hair. This, the story goes, is the lore that even the shape-changing Vanaras rejected. Fascinating, fascinating. All of it. But we'll have to translate most of it. But first, since we've already committed to it, let us read De Bellis Murorum, an 18th century epic poem by the pseudonymous trips me up every time, that name. Solipsistos. The poem elliptically describes a war between beasts, weather phenomenon, and arcane concepts. It's quite specific about their tactics. Huh, that's odd. I could swear I've read this book before. Specifically in this run, I mean. Strange. Alright. That's at least one notoriety taken care of. On to the next one. Oh, and I've also grown ill. How wonderful. Keglin's Scratch. Here the Romans dug for silver until they reached the unsanctioned space where the names hit things not fit for sunlight. Many others have come since then, even as the tunnels crumble. Some have never left. Interesting. But I think for now, we'll use the Maiden Mirror to search the city, to preserve her a bit longer, unlike this one, which is now a chilly atmosphere. The two one joined, and the horned distinguished, consequently blood. And from it, a Chiliarch's lesson. This is the bone-deep story the thousand man learned in antiquity of blood and its exits. To speak it aloud is to hear the sword hiss. And I believe now is a good opportunity to actually study Aramaic with a tutor. If I need to learn Aramaic, here's one who will help, but I'll need to pay in Spintrie, the currency of the hidden world. An iron one will suffice. Nice. This will be sufficient. I'll listen carefully. And we found a hireling, an entry consultant, not needed at the moment. Now we pray and hope that we can swiftly get rid of this notoriety. Wait, do we have vitality? No, we have not. Sad. Well, you can certainly use the use a prisoner to access the spider door, but that's not the only use a prisoner can have, so unless you've got a large supply of them, perhaps keeping some of them on hand is wise. Ah, optimism is the spice which saves. And like that, we're free of any sort of reputation. And I intend to keep it like that for a little while. Ah. The language of the visions of Amram, of the book of Daniel, and of the account of Kanishk at the spider's door. Well, prisoners for one can be used when you have to apply practical experimentation, in rites as well, and for certain other things. that may be revealed in time. But for now, we've learned Aramaic, the language of Aram, and all her many children these 3,000 years and more. And with it, we right away have the opportunity to translate this text. And since we are now, finally, freshly out of notoriety, I believe, since the younger Glover's board seat remains unoccupied, I'll devote passion to ambition and see what might become of it. And also, ideally, get rid of this dread. And here's the ideal opportunity. Turning Saliba into a disciple. I believe this maiden mirror has fulfilled her purpose, so we can now be content to let her slip back into the manses. Because now we'll devote the explore slot to find sites to explore on the continent. Little wars, great intrigues, cryptic priesthoods, mystic crimes. All past now, but what traces did they leave? Ah, finally. A promotion! My son, the elder Glover confides, was a dear boy, but he did lack ambition. You, on the other hand, burn with it. I see myself in you. Do you know that? I do. Well, I think we can find you a place on the board of directors. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Glover. I appreciate it. Yes, so now we have finally the board seat at Glover and Glover, which does mean that it would be wise to reduce our more illicit activities for now, since, yes, my high position now affords me some protection against scandal, but if the firm grows too concerned, I may be dismissed, so it's best not to test it too much. Better to keep a low profile right now, while I remain in the eye of the public, or rather of the company. Yes, as your first duty in the Mirror of Glory, find a way to get rid of that, please. I don't know, eat it or something. But now, translated, on Matthias and the Amethyst Imago, Loss, an account of an occult romance. A certain Para, son of Aaron, claims to have written this in a single day and a single night as part of his initiation into the Damascene branch of the House of Leith. Lethe, that tight, disciplined order of immortals who reject their past and future. Oh well, that sounds tantalizing. The laws of the house forbade Matthias to love. The customs of the wood forbade the imago to remain, so he conjured her a final time when she had uncovered the shears of Alakapura, and she suffered him to cut the wings from her back, so that she might remain, and he suffered her to cut the parts which hold man's seed, to keep them from the detestable act. What? Okay. This was love in all its blood and joy. We have cast out Matthias from the house. What? So... Occult romance. Matthias and the amethyst imago. Customs of the wood forbade the imago to remain, so he conjured her a final time when she had uncovered this. Huh. Fascinating. Like an occult, bizarro version of Romeo and Juliet. And maybe they both die at the end, though I'm not too sure. Ah. Saliba is now a disciple. Saliba's pleasures are taken in a room without windows. His companions return to him again and again, even though each time they are a little less. Maybe not the most pleasant fellow, but, well, he's loyal. Ah, a new commission. Yes, well, when it comes to the occult, oddities like that are not too rare, I'm afraid. I commission an edge. How quaint. Ah. The orthos wood, the pines grow thick as hairs on a dog's back. The airs of the inner wood are chokingly thick with resin and dust. The source that brought you here claimed that in the dawn times, the greatest tree at the wood's black heart served as perch for a great masked crow. Interesting. The beachcomber. Well, no reason to stop here. Let's keep on finding sites to explore. Ooh. Bleak thoughts and a chilly atmosphere about to decay into dread. There's something we should do about this. And that something is recruiting one of these hanger-ons. Why not? Work at Glover and Glover now that we have a board seat. And now that we have a board seat. The younger Glover's disappearance left a board seat empty. I now occupy it. And the hours of the working day wait in ranks before me. I might just go home after lunch. That's the good life. But I believe after we studied this, There's another kind of study I'm looking for, not one in books. Well, enigmatic and, as you put it, the fuck, are often intertwined. Ah. The right of the map's edge was given to us by the vagabond. It is the right that Matthias used to summon the amethyst imago, but like many summoning rights, it could be used to conjure almost any entity, given the appropriate tool and the appropriate influence. Use it gently, in memory of the name and the long who suffered these agonies, that they might be joined. Ah, interesting. So, I'm guessing Matthias was a long, and the amethyst imago was a name. Interesting, interesting. And we have yet another right. The right of the map's edge. The vagabond is the only hour that never enters the mansus. This rite must be performed in the right place, in the right time. And the vagabond will take that rightness for her own. A very useful rite, if I may say so myself. And now, instead of studying more books, we will study the lore of the wood, or rather subvert it. The glory is a question, and the moth always answers yes. Though, actually, must be smart about this. First, I'll probably need some erudition. And this glimmering, I don't think it'll last me long enough. So then, let me first read whatever is to hand. Yes. I could. But right now there's little use to that. Oh, a substantial one, my mistake. Another site on the continent, the Key Hunter's Garret. Vienna is one of those few cities which has the same name in every history, although adepts know it as the White City, or perhaps the City of the White. In a snowy street, in a crooked house, in a high and rattling attic, we have learned that an eccentric hunter of imaginary keys has established a tiny trove of odd books. Interesting, interesting. Well, no reason to stop there. Time to keep exploring. Ah. Curious few. The wrong kind of reputation might awaken the interest of the curious, the puritanical, or the vengeful. But, fortunately, we don't have any reputation right now. Our vest is squeaky clean. Erudition, very good. Which I believe will be the first thing required here. My name just now is clear. Any guardian remains in the shadows, and from that knowledge we gain contentment. Wonderful. Maybe, if we're lucky, fulfilling this commission will give us glimmering. Again! But still. Yes, mock and cackle them. That is only right. The Suppression Bureau are bumbling fools. The Wanderschaft Collection. A cramped little museum in a provincial town, long closed to the public since an outbreak of peculiar rapture in the room where they keep the pressed flowers. Only the very curious would ever pay attention to the place, and its close, warded storeroom of ill-omened treasures. Interesting. One sip. Yes, very good. Glimmering. Just what we wanted. Just what we needed. Unfortunately, however, we have, from this contract now, gained Mystique. But, well, a new hunter right now isn't too much of an issue, since we intend to keep a low profile right now. But still, someone is meddling. Time to see who our new adversary will be. And at that opportunity, we might as well speak of esoteric matters once more. First, the challenge is knowledge. That we can provide. Inspector Wakefield. Zachary... Why is that name such a tongue twister? Zachary Wakefield. A melancholy but remorseless inspector of police. He has recently been seconded to the Suppression Bureau. Just like the late, maybe great, Natalie Dragon, he is meticulous. But, unlike her, he is grim. Grim hunters cannot be swayed by the allure of the glory, but their own despair may destroy them. And of course, he is but a mortal. A pitiful little mortal. More work at the board. Perhaps it's time to fulfill some other commissions in the meantime, and also search more in Forgotten Chronicles. Things are going along nicely. A new patron? Who could that be, I wonder? Another challenge, intuition. That too we can provide. Yes, he will either inspect a ditch face down, or the cozy inside of a now slowly somewhat cramped prison cell. Although perhaps not that soon, since for now we're trying to keep a low profile. So, honestly, we can do whatever in the meantime. Because right now we're just Jacob Blake, honorable board member of Glover and Glover, with absolutely no dubious history with anything. What have we found this time? Fermier Abbey. Robert Fermier spent much of his unsavory fortune on the endowment of his monumental, forest-crowned abbey. The monks dislike visitors. Their ways are not exactly orthodox. They celebrate a certain harvest festival with unsavory vigor. Interesting, interesting. Actually, no reason to let our dreams right now remain idle. To the stag door once more. Dread. No one there. That's a shame. Then I guess we'll get a new commission. And finally, illumination. Usually would have to provide fascination, but we have a rarefied mind, so my mind is glass and my memory light. Yeah, exactly. It just needs the proper words and perhaps the proper actions, and most people become remarkably pliable. Agreeable, perhaps. Once again, I'll get a Forgotten Chronicle. And this place also merits closer investigation. Chateau Ravelin. The favorite stories of the Comtesse de Ravelin claim they descend from the first Sun King. Other stories have them prowling in the forest, have them prowling the forest in wolf shape. They are long gone. Their rotting chateau remains. Not all its malignities have been uncovered. Ah, the Sun King. That's actually, the Sun King is actually something historical. The lineage of, Louis the... I don't know how many, but, you know, the last king of Paris before the French Revolution, for example, was the Sun King. I think I know that much. But I don't know who the first of that lineage was. We need contentment. Louis the XYZ. Actually, would that be a proper number in the Roman? Because Z, I'm pretty sure, is actually a number in the Roman numeral system, but I'm not sure about why. Restlessness, right to be taken care of. What else could I do? Speak of more esoteric matters, I'm sure there's some more followers for me to find out there. Just need to, well, find them. A blinking in the light. Now I understand. Very good. Very, very, very good. Because this might be what we need to finally unlock the final door, the Peacock's door. Yeah, it's, I is 1, V is 5, X is 10, C is 100. There's also, I think, one for 50, but I forget what it's called. L, I think, is for 1000. A Fenian invocation, finally. Now that we have 2 of them, we can study again the glorious lore. Oh, and we also have contentment. How nice. The Foreman House. Philip Foreman, the helminthologist and antiquarian, did all his best work here at the family home until the day his subjects escaped. The infestation was destroyed, but Foreman, they say, walks the halls to this day, guarding his library and his shame. Interesting, interesting. Continent is most bountiful indeed in interesting places to discover. Ah yeah. L was 50, interesting. Huh, okay, then I misremembered. So D is 500 and M... Yeah, of course, M is 1000 because millennium. Yeah, that makes sense. Into the night again. Another day at Glover and Glover. Another Grail. Ooh, a very substantial commission in Grail. Uncharacteristically, we don't have the law to complete this one. How unexpected. I don't have any vitality, do I? No, sadly not. But I do have Ertuition. And, finally, the unnumbered stones, megaliths placed in obsessive, inerrant rows by priest castes long dead. Time has long erased the original bloodstains, but on moonless nights, the locals supplement what remains. Hidden chambers might guard hidden treasures. You've found all the expeditions on the continent, although you can find and visit the stones several times. Nice, so that means the Forgotten Chronicle will get us no further. So then, time to explore with the Forbidden Epic. Those stories that have been forbidden are the ones most apt for us to read. William Gore. "100 years in Arabic is called a horn." Interesting. I mean, yeah, there's history and language are both full of these interesting little numbering conventions. Like, for example, how 20 of something in English is called a score. Two score houses are 40 houses, for example. I once read up on the origin for that. If I believe correctly, the origin of score is from shepherds who would count their sheep by the 20 and then make a score, a notch on their shepherd's cane, to mark it. Ah. Victor. An acquaintance. Victor is a sly fellow, and he knows an unusual opportunity. He knows an unusual opportunity when he sees it. We might be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower. He finally fits in that missing slot here. Finally, our first edge follower. Language is fascinating. Commission of Secret History is interesting. What do you have for me? Alright, we're currently working on your commission. Time to fulfill it. Very good. Now, let us speak of esoteric matters once more. Our health restored. Illumination, once again, our rarefied mind comes to the rescue. Locations in the land beyond the forest, which is a literal translation of the word Transylvania. Voivode's citadel. In the days of the great power of the Turks, a man of power ruled here. Over many years he fed many thirsts, until his own thirst overcame him. I have learned that both his treasures and his victims may remain in an untouched vault below the castle. Sky head butter, that is fascinating. Ah. In Transylvania, a castle of one who in the days of the Turks fed many thirsts until his own thirst overcame him. I wonder who this might be referring to. A certain son of the dragon, maybe? A certain impaler. I believe this is the castle of Vlad Dracula Tepesh. We'll explore it one day, but I believe it won't be easy. What else can we find in Transylvania? Yes, it is quite red, though that's less due to this specific location. You will notice that each of the locations are color-coded. All locations on the continent have this bluish gray. All locations in the shires have this greenish tint. And all in the land beyond the forest, you will soon see, are this red. this cherry Kool-Aid red, as you put it. Ah. It seems our dear Inspector Wakefield is finally springing into action. Of course, we don't have any notoriety to offer him, but we do have quite a bit of mystique to keep him busy for a little while. I hope you enjoy the overtime, Inspector. The Kustenov Endowment. Prince Kustenov gave one-fourth part of his blood-soaked fortune to the establishment of a department for, oh god, what is that word? A department for eschatology. For eschatology at his provincial university. The staff have grown peculiar now, and the buildings fester in a freezing swamp. But some of Kustenov's bequest, perhaps, was spent on treasures. Treasures, I believe, of a more unusual kind. My eyes are fairly well, all uncountable of them. But yes, we have been at it for quite a while. The reason I press on is because I believe we're on the cusp of finally breaching the final gate. We now have a formulae... oh god. Formulae concursat. The concursum waits at the lantern of the Mansus. It has been called the Chamber of Ways and also the Chamber of Endings. Its intricacies are probably beyond human comprehension, but these formulae are a first approximation. Use this in a rite with a noctool and a thrilling air or other resources of equal power to summon a hint from behind the mirrors. But that is not what we shall use it for. We shall once again approach the spider's door, but instead of a victim, we shall go through the glass garden to approach the peacock's door at last. The light of the divided sun penetrates my dream, but not enough to thaw the long-dead frost blossoms of the glass garden. Each step I take crushes another plant to powder. This is the way the brighter hours once came, but now it's silent. Here in the clouds. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Finally, we approach the final gate. Yes, a hint, much like a maiden mirror, is a creature that likes to live behind reflective surfaces, though it follows different aspects and is not quite as powerful, in my opinion. I see the detective is hard at work, combing through our mystique, hoping to find something which he won't. And we have found another acquaintance. Cat Caro, as she styles herself, earns a living as a stage medium and a fortune teller. She may have deeper talents. Another acquaintance, this one, since as both the color and the fact that she's a medium and fortune teller might give away, is one of Lantern. Substantial commission and edge. Alright. Yes, why not take care of that right away? Exactly. I mean, violence is not an answer, it's a question. The answer is yes. So now we stand at the peacock door, proud and shining amethyst, its glow tinting the snow-pale shapes of the glass garden. This is the highest point where mortals may penetrate the mansus. No crack mars its surface. This is not a door that opens, although it is said it may bleed light. In my dreams, I found the way to the peacock's door, sometimes called the Gate of Eyes, or Pride's Dismay. Entering it will be quite difficult, but I believe if I play my cards just right, I may yet accomplish it. We have also translated the Shaven Lock Tantra, also known as the one who has shaven his hair. This, the story goes, is the lore that even the shape-changing Vanaras rejected. Let's give it a read then. We're not Vanaras. The Tantra speaks glowingly of those who are prepared to abandon their old self to seek a new and higher self. It warns that once the change has truly begun, past the third mark, a return to the old self is dangerous and painful. The peacock's door. In my dreams, I know the path through the glass garden to the peacock's door, the most admirable of doors, the door which shines like a mirror. Perhaps, with the right resources, I can pass it. But I don't believe I possess those resources yet, so we must wait a little longer, but not much. The Cave of Candles. Every 7th sunset, the cunning man comes from the village below to renew the candles. The floor of the entrance chamber is a slick of stinking wax. He claims the light keeps the creatures below cowed, but more likely the sacrifices he brings keep it too sated to emerge. Interesting. But now, rather uncharacteristically, since we're currently on the board, we will actually launch an expedition. A single one. How forge of whom? I'm sorry, I think I lack the context for your remark. Speaking of forge, we'll need them to pass the treacherous terrain. Whisper your secrets into the earth, burn them in fire, scatter them in the sea, still they will cling to your hair. The Tantra cautions. It provides an occult riddle that it claims is sometimes the answer to the riddle of the Hunter's Gate. An Ecdysiast's parable. The Ecdysiast's riddle is what may be lost. Each Ecdysiast's parable is an attempt to answer the riddle. Interesting. I think we'll actually break this up to return to the fundamentals. Add another forge follower. We call upon the Madrugad, who cannot be unbalanced. We invoke the Madrugad, an hour of forge as well as winter. We'll make our own path through. Success is almost certain. Nice. Yes. I guess that is kind of forge. I think. Well, we all have to do a living. And if they pay well for it, might as well. Also, someone needs to find out the scream of darkness and shadows in my soul, or something like that. I don't know. Safe across treacherous ground. Very good, very good. We're mud splattered and thorns scratched, but we've made it through. Wonderful. Analysis is a kind of vivisection. Reason is the knife. But for now it's dulled. But from it we have true, fruitive truths. Because I don't think we've explored everything in the Shires just yet. This is in Fuchin, a language we do speak, so why not translate it? Yes, the darkness and the struggle within and the, you know. We call upon the ivory dove, who knows the names of all the dead. For now we face the fretful dead. Not all the dead rest easy. These ones dislike our intrusion. We can prevail against them with edge, or they may obey one who comes in the name of winter. And we come in the name of winter, luckily. The dead circle the edge of our vision like frayed dreams. The very air around us is chill with winter's shadow. They must recognize that. Commission fulfilled. Very good. Again to the painted river, and fascination. Unfortunate, but we do have fleeting reminiscence. The stag door opens. I dreamt of the mansus behind the white door, of the great space above the orchard, the space that overlooks the bounds, the space where the vagabond once painted her river. Painted ships pass the painted river. I met the painted eyes of a painted captain. She saluted, and the motion was like the layered movement of clouds. The sail of the ship was amber, and the captain's eyes the green of new barley, and the river aquamarine. Now that I'm awake, I see those colors still. And fascination is what we have gained from it. Unfortunate, but we do have fleeting reminiscence. And, rather conveniently, our steady flow of fulfilled commissions keep the detective working, the inspector rather, my mistake, which means that, once this expedition concludes, the notoriety might actually fall to him instead of our employers, which usually would be a bad thing, because he will create tentative evidence from it, but at the same time, this will mean that we don't risk our employment. Yes, yes, the painted captain. Those who do not sleep, finally translated. The mystic Bordnax discusses the origins of the Sister and Witch, and of the Thunderskin. The Sister and Witch were born in 2 wombs, one poor, one rich, across the sea. The sister was stronger in the aspect of heart, and so their survival was assured. The witch was stronger in the aspect of grail, and so they were not satisfied. And we've grown ill again, but by now we have plenty of funds to take care of that. The wary dead, the dead draw back, their almost faces flat and watchful. They will not trouble us. Yes. I mean, I'm sure he envisioned a more glorious career than, sifting through, OC Do Not Steal, Dark Shadow, the Night Reaper, but, well, here he is. Treasures lie before us, very good. Once a lady, the air is stale, and dust sifts worryingly down from the rock above, but the dead lie still. This chamber, with its chalked figures and ancient stains, looks promising. Ah, and we've read the text. When the Sister and Witch came from the west, the Red Grail permitted their ascension, but then grew jealous of their power. It lured a great musician into the ranks of its names, and caused him to be reborn from blood as a heart hour, so that the Grail might maintain dominion there also, but its victory is not assured. Interesting. From it we've gained a formulae vigilant. One who watches does not sleep, one who sleeps watches not, one who watches does not sleep, one who sleeps watches not. Use this in a rite with Byzantine tinct and a meteoric bullet, or other resources of equal power to summon a percussigant. And we have gained a new rite, the rite of the sea's feasting. This rite calls on the witch and sister to close the gap between what is and what might be. The adept hours, or hurls. The adept pours or hurls an offering into water, preferably, but not essentially, the sea. Interesting. Another quite powerful... Wrangle. Quite powerful piece of lore. And, even better, a new rite. What else is there here? The second volume of Traveling at Night, for example. I think the last one we've yet to read. The annotated dream journals of Christopher Illipoli, sometimes called the only readable occultist. Literate, entertaining, bewildering. This is the second volume. There is an extensive discussion of the similarities between Illipoli's own dreams and those of the Emperor Elagabalus, who Illipoli regards as a dupe of the avatar of the sun in rags. The white is west of the world, Illipoli remarks, and winter does not wait forever. I wonder, I mean, Inspector Wakefield here is quite meticulous, so he probably just grits his teeth and works through it. Ah. Once a lady, in a lead-lined sarcophagus, lies the skeleton of a woman. She wasn't buried here. It looks like she crawled in to die. Something has happened to the shape of her skull, pushing out the jaw like the muzzle of a beast. Scraps of rotting linen swathe her bones. Treasures lie among the remains of her clutching hands between her ribs. We've gained another Spintari also. Of course, notoriety. Bied's blade. A cut from this blade will not cease bleeding until the wound is healed. One account has it that Bied was a knife-collecting surgeon highwayman. Surgeon highwayman, what a combination. In 18th century Toulouse. Another claims Bied is only the bastardization of the Arabic word for mosquito. And also a cracked wildering mirror. A deep crack runs across the shimmering metal. A Forge Aspect follower could repair it with sufficient resources, or I could use up what power remains in it. Now, of course, the question is, what to do about this notoriety? While it's there, we can't very well go back to work. Well, the answer to that question is rather simple, actually. A simple change of premises. Move our organization's headquarters to a new location. This will permanently relocate your headquarters. No return is possible. It can reduce notoriety. And so we will do just that. And the footprint of our expedition is no more. And so we can go back to our work at Glover & Glover without any fear. But now, the most crucial step is at hand. The true reason I undertook this expedition is, for this cracked, wildering mirror, we can begin to repair this, but it will take at least a bronze spintria to purchase the necessary materials. Luckily, we have those in more than ample supply. Read this volume of Traveling at Night. Oh god, this name again. Elagabalus found his way to the White Door at last, thankfully. Speech can't pass the White Door, and honestly, Elagabalus never had anything very interesting to say. I tried to follow in his footsteps, but I never learned enough of the White. I suppose I'm thankful for that too. But here's what I do know. Erduition and a sexton's secret. Certain knowledge, it is said, can be expressed only through the particular quality of a silence. It has been suggested that one can only read such knowledge with one's eyes closed, but only by mischievous commentators. Yes, reading with one's eyes closed is difficult. Not that I've tried it, I guess, but I can't imagine it is too easy. I would advise giving this specific mirror to anyone because we're going to need it. Study the skeleton songs. What was this again? Poems of greedy delight composed by the possibly pseudonymous Arabella Dusk, the rumored heiress turned madman turned poetess. In Arabella's introduction, she explains that the book was to be illustrated, but that the Suppression Bureau would not permit it. Friend cretins. She hints that the illustrations still exist somewhere. The book is dedicated to Sir Parzival of the Red Cup. And a change of premises. No address is really ever permanent. Like our bodies, we leave them all in the end. But for now, this is home. A darkened warehouse. The rafters are rank with rats. Their smell is almost lost beneath the reek of the river. It's a long way from anywhere anyone would want to go. All these things are, in their way, advantages. Not the most glamorous accommodation, but I don't think we'll stay here too long either. So, oh well. Now. Oh, and also, one very good thing about this is that it's easily overlooked. Use of this headquarter will cause reputation cards to disappear. The benefits of privacy, we've taken care to locate our headquarters somewhere out of the way, which means that if we gain a notoriety or mystique in the next 177 seconds, it will just vanish. Quite useful. Oh. And the work on the Wildering Mirror is about to be done. Which means I'm going to start dreaming. Oh, wait. Never mind. But, oh well, the timing still works out. The mirror is repaired. It shines again as it did once before. A wildering mirror, a multiplicity of vistas, a bewilderment of views. Gaze upon me and rejoice in the dissolution of your senses. Aspect, a mirror. Crack light's skin and light will bleed. In my dreams, I know the path through the glass garden to the peacock's door, the most admirable of doors, the door which shines like a mirror. Perhaps, with the right resources, I can pass it. Passing the peacock's door. The peacock's door reflects the mirror I hold in my sleep, and the mirror reflects the peacock's door. Already a sensuous shiver ripples its surface. It aches for fracture, and when it finds that satisfaction, I will enter. Which is one of the stranger descriptions I've heard of a mirror breaking, but now well. The 26 delightful fruits, the 7 chastisements, the 9 gardens, the 4 regrets. Which was this again? Ah yes, Parzival of the Red Cup. Interesting. The mirror and the peacock store? I think we'll start reading the orchid transfigurations now, or rather, translating them first. Ah, we have found something new. Gledwin Lake. Beneath the stark slopes of the fells, the mist-wreathed surface of the lake waits. There was a twin altar here before the Romans came, and a legend of a serpent who was sent to defile that altar. Interesting. Ah, the final door opens. The peacock store, and right at its threshold, we can learn a new language. The most ancient of languages. Vak. Last night I opened the peacock's door, and afterwards it spoke to me. I am Vak, it boasted, both the tongue and the goddess. I am the only entrance into secret light. I was worshipped before you upright apes, and I will be still when all you are ugly. When all of you are ugly ash. Listen, and I will prove it. I woke with my mouth full of words. And we have learned Vak. Before the gods arose from blood, before ever ape stood upright, this was the language heard in the house of the sun. The most ancient of languages. The peacock's door reflects the mirror I hold in my sleep, and the mirror reflects the peacock's door. Alright, we have already read that, but unfortunately, it did ache for fracture, and it did find that satisfaction, so now the mirror is cracked once more. We'll have to repeat the cycle of repairing it if we want to re-enter. But for now, I think, now that we've entered the final gate before the glory, this is a good place to call it for tonight. We have gone a lot longer than I had planned initially, but I don't mind too much. But actually, while I'm still here, I'll look for any possible targets to raid. I don't see anyone on Twitch. And unfortunately, the raiding function or redirection function on YouTube is barred to those with over 1,000 subscribers, which is quite extreme, so... Well, I guess we'll just end it for now. I hope you all enjoyed this further delve into the mysteries of the House of the Sun. I certainly took immense pleasure from being your host this evening. I wish you all the greatest of times, and I hope to see you some other day.